Republican Senator Tom Cotton, now member of the Senate Judiciary, Armed Services, and Intelligence Committees, also from the great state of Arkansas. Good to see you today. How surprising is it or not that President Biden is going to speak on dialing down hate?
I think it's pretty surprising, Harris. If Joe Biden wants to find one of the main sources of division and potential threats of political violence in our country, he should probably look in the mirror or just look at the crowd of liberals he's going to have with him at the White House today. I mean, the deranged speech he gave just a couple of weeks ago and his remarks in recent weeks of declaring 74 million people who voted Republican in the last election semi-fascist are beneath the dignity of any president, but especially one who promised to try to deliver unity in his inaugural address. But again, remember, Joe Biden has a long history of such comments. He said in 2012 that Mitt Romney, of all people, were going to put African-American citizens back in chains. And his Department of Justice has not taken steps necessary to try to prevent political violence. I mean, you had left-wing agitators outside the homes of Supreme Court justices this summer in clear violation of federal law, and they refused to arrest a single one of them. That whole episode culminated in a deranged Democratic hitman flying from California trying to assassinate Brett Kavanaugh. Yet again, not a single person who organized those unlawful gatherings outside of justice homes have been arrested and brought to justice. So I think Joe Biden needs to look in the mirror and look at his fellow liberals when he's talking about the sources of division in this country.
Boy, I tell you, you came with some examples that, I mean, we haven't forgotten them, but when you enumerate them that way, it's quite the stack. And so much offensiveness in there. I mean, so many points where he could start with, I wish I hadn't said this, let's do it differently. I do want to get to this real quickly. He's decrying that hate after attacking the GOP. He's saying that we've got to do better. A New York Post op-ed argues Biden drafts hate to get out the vote. The event will be the largest episode of the Biden Salvation Show. Every sane person already opposes mass murder and vicious attacks on innocent people. So there will be nothing to learn from the White House summit. Americans can condemn hatred without putting Biden or any other politician on a pedestal. Your reaction?
Well, I think the New York Post actually didn't take the Democrats at the words. A lot of Democrats actually don't condemn violence and murder in some cases because they're actively working to try to put murderers back on the streets. Look at the Lieutenant Governor of Wisconsin, Mandela Barnes. He wants to eliminate the bail system in Wisconsin that would release criminals the moment after they get arrested and arraigned. Yet Joe Biden supports them. Look at the Lieutenant Governor of Pennsylvania, John Fetterman, a man who said if he could have one wish, it would be to eliminate long sentences for murderers. Yet Joe Biden supports him as well. The crime wave you're seeing in this country is a result of failed Democratic policies, and it starts at the top in the White House.
Well, and you look at the recidivism of criminals just in general, but those who commit violent crimes in particular. So when you hear words like that from Fetterman, you start to wonder, well, what world are they living in? Well, his world would include Philadelphia, all of Pennsylvania, and areas where crime is rampant. I mean, I just don't understand why they can't see what's right in front of their faces. This is happening right now. The President of the United States has just wrapped up his talk about labor and avoiding that rail strike. I want to get your idea on where we are in terms of all of the crises that the president is dealing with right now. When we started to read about a rail strike and how that was going to impact potentially supply chains, I mean, it literally is one thing after another.
It is, Harris. I think that's one reason you see this event today at the White House, or you saw that deranged speech in Philadelphia a couple weeks ago, which the president wants to try to foment these divisions to distract away from the failures of his administration. Inflation is still running as high as it has in 40 years. People are struggling to pay the bills at the grocery store or the utility bills at home. You have crime that is surging all across America. Sadly, it seems like we see another horrific murder in the news every night in one of America's big cities. The border is totally chaotic and out of control. The president's failures abroad have helped create the conditions to bring China and Russia closer together. The failures of this president are all everywhere you turn. And I think the American people are going to hold the Democrats accountable for it in a couple months.
You know, it's interesting. I had the Republican National Committee Chairwoman, Ronna McDaniel, on yesterday, and she said that if Republicans can focus on some of those things that you just mentioned, Will Cain says, no, make it all about the economy as well. She said that too. Democrats are going to pull in some cultural things, and they're going to get nasty with the name calling. We can see that from the very White House, from the President of the United States. How hard is that focus and that unity within your own party right now?
You know, it's not really all that hard, Harris, because that's what most normal Americans are thinking about. When I talk to Arkansans, they're not following Joe Biden's pseudo events. They're worried about how they're going to buy eggs this weekend at the grocery store. They're worried that with winter coming and natural gas prices at very high levels, they're going to be able to pay the electricity bill. They're worried about their kids being safe at a park or walking down the street to and from home and school, or for that matter, what they're learning at school. That's what's on the minds of most normal Americans, even if it's not on the minds of Joe Biden and Democratic politicians in Washington.
You know, I mentioned that the president had just been speaking at the White House. We know he's got a big speech planned later today on that Unity Summit that you and I started with, Senator. But at the White House, he spoke after railroads and labor unions reached an 11th hour deal to avert a strike. The work stoppage threatened to shut down rail lines across the country, which would have devastated the already backlogged supply chain, as I mentioned. Here's a little bit of what he just said.
I am very pleased to announce a tentative labor agreement that has been reached between the railroad workers and the railway companies. This agreement is a big win for America and for both, in my view.
A quick reaction to that. We were just talking about all the things that are stacking up against this president.
Well, I welcome any agreement that's going to keep America's railroads working. You know, this is primarily a private negotiation between the railroads and the railroad workers. I haven't seen the terms of their agreement. Again, it's largely between them, as any labor management negotiation is. But the consequences of a strike could have been devastating for America, up to $2 billion a day. I wish it hadn't gotten to this point. There has been some disruption of some cargo being pulled off the lines already. Hopefully that can get on very quickly. I wish we had reached this agreement a few days ago or a couple of weeks ago. It's been going on for several years, actually, but it's a good thing for Americans.
Senator Cotton, it's always great to have you in focus. We can run the gamut on a lot of things, and we did today. Thank you.
Thank you, Harris.